Hello everybody, this is Suri. I hope everyone is having a wonderful, cozy fall season. Welcome to this tutorial, Autumn Seamless Pattern. Today I'm going to show you how I made my seamless patterns in Procreate, all the way from scratch, and also at the end of the video I'm going to show you how to resize your patterns to bigger size in Procreate without losing the quality and definition of your elements so that you can use them for print on demand. And for this pattern, I'm going to be using 3 elements, and they're going to be in 3 different sizes and 3 different colors. The bigger elements are going to be on the very bottom of my pattern, then the medium size element and the smaller ones are going to be on top. And I'm going to make sure I'll draw my elements in 3 separate layers. Alright, so I have the 3 leaves I'm going to be using for my pattern today, and the next thing I'm going to do is add some detail inside the leaves and also add some shadow around the borders of the leaf. To add the shadowing for the leaves, I'm going to open some clipping mask, and once I am happy with the shadowing, I'm just gonna merge those down together because I don't need the clipping mask to be separate from the actual element. Alright, so here we are with the 3 elements done, and now it's time to work on the block that is going to form my pattern. I'm going to begin arranging the elements that are going to be on the base of my pattern, which is going to be the yellow maple leaves. And I'm going to go ahead and resize it before I start duplicating the element. So the strategy I'm about to use on the first layer of my pattern is optional. However, I have found this to work better when I'm working with larger elements as these leaves. If your elements are small, it is easy to create a nice repeating block without going through this step that I'm about to do. So first, I'm going to go ahead and position my leaves on the corner where I want it to be. And as you know in Procreate, when you pull an element partially or completely out of the canvas, you lose that part of the element. However, if I duplicate that element before pulling it out of the screen, I can still use that part on the other side. And there's a way to make Procreate to tell me where exactly to position that lost part on the other side to make my block more flowy. And that is by filling up a layer underneath my element. You're gonna fill up a whole layer with whatever color you want underneath that element. That layer can be changed later. That color is not gonna stay there. We're just using that layer as a guide. As you can see, I have duplicated that element too. I have 1 leaf as a back cut and I unselected. I'm saving that leaf for later because I'm going to need whole leaves later for the middle of the canvas. Also, I have grouped the layer with the leaf and the layer that I filled up with the color. And I duplicated that group because I'm going to need that group to put it on the right side of the canvas to complete that lost part of the leaf. As you can see right now, Procreate is telling me where exactly to position this part of the leaf, and that's because I filled a whole layer that touched all the edges of my canvas. You will also notice that every time I finish positioning the elements that are grouped together, I will open or collapse that group and regroup all the elements that are the same back together. For example, I will keep my maple leaves together in a group, my backgrounds together in a group, and so on. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the process, but this time it's going to be in a vertical way. I'm gonna position that leaf right there, and then I'm going to put it together with a whole layer that is filled with a color, duplicate that group, and position the other part on the bottom of my canvas. Alright, so this is how my pattern looks so far. I'm gonna go ahead and start working with my whole leaves, and as you know, I left a leaves as a backup because I'm gonna start working with my whole leaves now. And to work with whole leaves, you don't need to put any layer filled with color because they're just inside the block and they're not gonna be lost for pulling them out of the canvas like I did with the other ones. Alright, so I have come to this leaf right here, and I don't like how much is overlapping over the other ones because it looks different than everything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat one more time the process that I did before because I wanted to go a little more to the left. Alright, so I believe I have all my maple leaves where I want them to be, so I'm gonna go ahead and merge those together in a layer. And now it's time to work with the next element of my pattern. For this one, it's gonna be way easier because they're smaller, and I don't need to like pull them out of the canvas for anything, so I'm not gonna need layers and grouping layers with elements together to pull them out of the canvas. So I'm just gonna position 4 of these where I want them here and flip them over to spice it up a little. And once again, once you are happy with the placement, you can go ahead and merge those together, keep the elements together. Now it's time to do the third and last layer of my pattern, which is the green little branches here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. As you see, I have a whole group as a backup just in case I need more elements to refill somewhere. I'm doing the same thing I did with the second layer of the elements. I don't need to pull those out of the canvas, so these ones are easy to position in my block. Very important, remember, if you don't want to do that process that I did with the first layer, make sure your elements don't go out of the canvas because you lose that information and the pattern is not going to repeat in a seamless way. I am placing some of my elements really close to the edge, but I am making sure nothing goes out of the canvas. Alright, so I am done building the blocks that is going to form my pattern. I'm going to go ahead and merge together the last layer of my pattern. And now it's time to test this pattern to see if we did the right thing, to see if it's seamless and it's going to repeat on whatever we put it. But before I do that, I am making sure I'm saving a backup of my group just in case. So once you have the backup group secure, go ahead and duplicate that group until you have 4 groups. And you need 4 because you need 1 for each corner. This time we're going to go ahead and shrink the layers to each corner. And you also need to turn on the snapping and magnetics because we are going to need the yellow guidelines, vertical and horizontal, to tell us where exactly to position the layer. As you can see, I am not letting go of that layer until I see my yellow and horizontal guidelines. Alright, so as you can see, my pattern is successful. I don't have any lines, everything is seamless. And the next thing I'm going to do is just collapse those groups like I did before and just regroup all the layers that are the same. Also, I'm going to go ahead and flatten the group so that I keep all my elements that are the same together in one layer. And now that my pattern is done, it's time to test different background colors to see which one suits this pattern the best. And I'm going to go ahead and test different colors until I absolutely love one of them. Alright, I think I found the background color that I really like. It's a really light creamy color and I think it looks really good with this pattern. As you know, when I first opened this project, I opened it on a 3000 by 3000 pixels canvas. However, if your ultimate goal is to use this pattern for print on demand, you might want to resize this pattern. And I'm going to show you the right way to resize this pattern. So Procreate has its limit when it comes to resizing. Big sizes, for example, over 5000 pixels, give you a very limited amount of layers. And building this pattern on a 5000 by 5000 would have been pretty much impossible because you needed a lot of layers for it. So that's the reason I built the pattern on a 3000 by 3000 pixels so that I could have enough layers to work with. However, there is a wrong and right way to resize your pattern. If you want to use them for print-on-demand products especially, you don't want your pattern to lose quality and definition when you resize it. And what I am doing right now is absolutely the wrong way to resize something to a bigger size. You don't want to just stretch a 3000 by 3000 canvas over a 6500 by 6500 canvas because that's a way where you lose quality and definition on your pattern. But the right thing to do is to duplicate that, reposition the new layer, and then merge those 2 layers together. So now you will repeat these steps until you have covered the surface of the whole canvas. And that's the way to resize this pattern without compromising the quality of it.